everyone. Today it's a little bit of a different setting and I wish you could see what I'm seeing ahead of me, but I'll show you later. But the light is coming this way, so you'll have to do with this instead. I had asked you on Instagram if you had any questions on woofing, and I did get quite a few, so I thought I would make a specific video on what is woofing, why I woof, and answering all the questions that you might have, because I posted that video on a day in the life of a woofer without even explaining what a woofer is. So I guess that if you're not familiar with the idea of woofing, that you might have been a bit confused of what I was talking about. So before I go into the questions, I'll give you just a little overview of what a woofer is, very, very short, because I'm sure most of you already know or have gathered from the last video. So woofing is a network which I think it started in the UK, but it's worldwide now. There's a woofing organization in most countries, and it stands for I'm gonna get this right. Worldwide Opportunities Woof Organic Farm or something like that, or on organic farms. So basically it's a list of people that do organic farming that need volunteers, either for the whole year or for certain projects or for certain parts of the year like summer, and you can register as a volunteer and volunteer in those places. And so mostly it's on a volunteer basis, but some place do also offer payment. It depends really on a lot of things. If you are really highly skilled, like if you have 10 years experience on permaculture, for example, then you might be able to find positions where they also offer you a little expenses allowance or something like that. But most of the places, they give you food and accommodation in exchange of work. Most places you work from 4 hours and a half to 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. There are some farms that require less hours. The one that I was staying was requiring 4 hours and a half a day, 5 days a week. And some farms ask you for a lot more. So yeah, this is basically what woofing is. I'm gonna do a separate video on the differences between woofing and workaway. Workaway is another big site for volunteers to find work around the world. But there are some differences that I think are quite important. So I will make a separate video on that, I think. But because I don't have a lot of space on the SD card, let's jump on the questions. So okay, what's a woofer? I think I just answered that question. How did you do that with Audi? It's a very, very good question. And on the woofing site, you can actually sort your hosts by a lot of different filters. And one of the filters is, would they consider taking a dog prior arrangement. So you can sort the hosts in there by whether they would be willing to have a dog or not. I must say it's not easy to find hosts that are, just because it depends on your location, I guess, because here in Scotland most of the woof hosts have livestock, so obviously most owners wouldn't feel comfortable having another dog that they don't know in their farm, because they might harm animals and stuff. So either your dog is very well behaved and you can prove that, either they have dogs and they like dogs and they know that somehow you can train the dog not to harm animals, or you can find a farm that doesn't have animals. But yeah, it really depends on the host that you're choosing. Have you ever felt unsafe for whatever reason while doing this? No, I've never felt unsafe. I don't know if I've been lucky. I think that most people on it are quite honest and trustworthy, but again, if you felt unsafe, then you could just leave, I suppose. How many woofing things have you done, and which has been your favorite? Actually, this is a good question, because I had only done 2 placements, one through Workaway, which I'll talk in another video, and one through woofing, but they were both long-term, so I stayed 2 months on the first one and a month and a half on the second one. So because I don't have that much experience, I can't really choose my favorite one. They were both very unique and special experiences. So I'm sorry, I can't choose my favorite. But the first one was in a permaculture small holding in Tuscany, very close to Florence. So my van was parked outside this beautiful house, and I could see the dome of Florence from the window of my van. It was just very special, and I'm still very friends with the guy that hosted me. So that was really, really good. How do you find and select your woofing places? Could you give us a piece of advice for the first experience? So I select my places depending on where I am, depending on whether they accept dogs, and depending whether they accept vegans, which if you put through those filters through the woofing site, it takes away most of the woofing hosts anyway. So I'm usually left with not a lot of choice. So I usually just send emails. I check their profile and check that they're doing something that I'm interested in, and then just shoot an email. So for me it's quite easy because I don't have that much choice anyway, at least not in Scotland so far. And then, do you have any advice for first? Yes. When you find a place that you like, first of all, read through everything. Read through the description. Just make sure that you know who you're writing to, or at least you've read as much as you could from the person that you're applying to. Because those people, it's their house. They're just hosting a complete stranger. They are allowing a complete stranger to come into their house. So it's nice for you to show that you have read at least the description. And second of all, don't send the same email to everybody. Make it personalized. Mention what it is that they're doing that you think you could that really interests you, what you think you could do in their specific farm to help out, things like that. And like their Facebook page, Instagram page if they have any. Just show that you're interested in them as a project and not just in, having a free holiday. So yeah, that's the advice. And also be very clear if you have any needs. So for example, for me it's very important to have my mornings where I work and then the afternoon where I don't work, because I need to do other things, and I don't like when the work kind of protracts itself for the full day. So I like to be clear about being, I need time for myself. So if you have any specific needs, if you need to be by yourself, or if you need internet connection for, long times, or if you need, Tuesdays off, then make sure you say that on your email before you agree to go to the farm. Where have you woofed? Already answered this question. Tuscany and in the Highlands of Scotland. I'm planning to do more, but again, I'm finding it very hard to find places that allow dogs. So I think that when I'm going south, it's going to be easier because there are going to be a lot more farms that grow veggies instead of keeping livestock, which is better for me as well because I don't feel comfortable anymore working in a farm with livestock unless it's a sanctuary or something like that. Do you pay for food and accommodation? How does that work when having your home with you? So you don't pay for food and accommodation. That's the deal. You give your work and they give you food and accommodation. If you have a van of your own, for the host it's probably better so that they can have more more volunteers, because usually what they have is either a room or a caravan where volunteers can stay. So if you have your own van, it means that that caravan is not taken and they can take in more volunteers if they wish to. So I think that it's a lot better if you can pitch yourself with already accommodation, because they don't have to think about that. Especially if you're on your own, because a lot of woofing place they have accommodation, but it's usually for couples, so it's either a double bed or a small caravan. So for them it wouldn't really make sense to give that caravan to a single person when they could have two. So it's good to have your own van. Woofing, it's something I've been thinking about. How easy is it to find woofing locations? It's very easy, again, if you don't have a dog and eat meat. So there are lots and lots of farms, at least where I've looked, that do woofing. So yes, if you're very flexible and don't have a dog, then it's really, really easy. Again, if you don't eat meat and you have a dog, you can find places, it's just a little bit more challenging. So this is it really for your questions. I hope I answered them all. If you have more questions, then you can leave them down below, of course. And yeah, I'm gonna film that video on comparisons between Workaway and Wwoofing soon, so you can have a look to that. But in the meantime, do you want to see what's over there? So this is our spot for the night, so I think we're just gonna go and enjoy it. Bye!